The true imagination leads life back to its spiritual reality, and then it takes on the name of meditation. Paracelsus is alluding to our ability to use our objective faculties to visualize. Think about it. Our true imagination can conceptualize whatever we want it to. That includes the divine source of existence, giving us the ability to explore and understand our interconnectedness through visualization and meditation. It's like closing your eyes on a sunny day. You can still tell it's daytime, so it wouldn't take much imagination to breathe that sunlight into your lungs until you're 100% focused on the light. Enough relaxation and singular focus will eventually bear fruit. We'll awaken to our spiritual roots and catch a few glimpses where only that light exists. Are these experiences we'll live from like all of those hermits in the old stories? Doubtful. But we'll know that the experiencer and the thing experienced are exactly that, the experience. It's all interconnected business. Now think of the triangle as a mystical symbol. We've seen it a million times. Put it over your eye if it makes you feel cool. Just think of polarity as you do it. Where would a divine source radiating into the material plane come from? And how would we experience it? Objective, subjective, existence. Alchemists concocted all sorts of meditative practices to invoke divine powers, or what they called inner guides, who would move them beyond the world of forms, our world, into this cosmic unity at the source of all being. So test the spirit through the spirit and follow whatever ritual you're comfortable with, because a lot of this is really just personal understanding of spiritual archetypes. Like Sophia, Inanna, El Chai, Adonai, these are energies and spaces inwards and upwards. The what and why of these archetypes and their significance isn't easy to publicly discuss. But these names have energy. They have been fed by countless people, projecting their mental and emotional connections to them for untold millennia. Some of us hum and find the vibrations that shift our perspectives, and then it's lights and colors for other people. Neither one is different per se. Observer effects, manifestations, emanations, inner sanctums, this esoteric internal realm of existence within, however they experience that, we're talking about the same thing. Beings with hearts and heads tend to feel pulled in different directions by whatever is happening outside of them. It's that 3D thinking your local hippies keep talking about. Personally, the mystical interpretation of a triangle as the first stable building block for creation is incredibly easy for me to grasp. From a holy trinity to a triune natures, the symbolism functions the same. The lower portion represents the material plane and our struggle with our seemingly dual nature. The two lower points are then reconciled by rising above our physical being into the higher spiritual realms. We're spiritual centerists, right? It's that neutral pillar that keeps the other two in line. The most straightforward way to do this is to create a manner of living which is in line with spiritual principles. Golden rule vibes of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This means being tolerant to others, both in thought and deeds. Trust me, you'll reach a point where you understand why Yeshua said to think about a thing is just as bad as doing it. Because whatever we feed our subconscious and internally feel will always find a way to manifest in our lives. We create all sorts of karmas and problems for ourselves just by consistently focusing on negative things. Cultivating attitudes of gratitude and projecting humanity's highest ideals from within is how we will ultimately go about realizing the kingdom here and now. We can literally harmonize with the creative force of God through meditation and tune into the light and love radiating from the very core of everything. So why wouldn't we? We're already here. My personal method of visualization is ultra simple. I close my eyes and I write the letter Aleph on my chest. On every in-breath, I visualize light glowing from the letter permeating through my being. Dozens of Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Akkads later, I found that vibration in my personal cadence, and I'm at that place where physicality is more of an ocean than fiber and flesh. Prayer and meditation should always be seen as a way to anchor ourselves and stay grounded in the deeper truths. Only God is. That way, when we encounter situations that set us on edge, we can return to the ebb and flow of the ocean of consciousness and function. It's more intuitive movement, one that remembers what is burning within us. Do unto others and let life live and love or whatever. Remember, that same light and love generates from within and it can always be projected outwards. Our thought lives are the vehicle for this, right? But why? Thought is pure energy. Every thought you have, or have ever had, or ever will have, is creative. The energy of your thought never dies, ever. It leaves your being and heads out to the universe, extending forever. A thought is forever. This clever quote comes to us from Neil Donald Walsh, the author of the Conversations with God series. Anyways, nothing is fixed. The annoyances we encounter are temporary. So why in the world would we ever allow them to occupy our minds incessantly? If we don't like our emotional states, we have the ability to shift our thoughts back to something we actually value. Our egos are carnal, fragile even. They're illusions. They want to be taken in by material concerns. They want to take us outwards. When possibly only 4% of the universe is truly physical, what sense does that actually make? Like, my fingers aren't even touching right now. Electron repulsion and whatnot. There's a natural part of our human natures that wants to react to anything external. We can theorize an observer principle, but how often do we simply observe? Just watch and remember, we have a choice.
Everybody got choices. I choose to get money, I'm stuck to this bread.
This is why compassion is so important. We can imagine a peaceful world by choosing to be compassionate to all living things. Every disaster we come in contact with is a chance for us to live in the way we were intended to, attentive enough to hear each other and do less harm than good no matter the situation. We become compassionate with ourselves when we accept our mistakes. When we learn to love ourselves for our flaws, we become more apt to accept others in spite of theirs. That doesn't mean subjecting ourselves to toxic people. We've all cut people out or been cut out because we were the unhealthy one at some point in our lives, right? It means we forfeit our right to judgment while we cut ties and move on. Run that Dalai Lama wisely selfish road and wish everyone well, whether they are friend or foe. By actively imagining ourselves this way and visualizing our goals, we can literally apply mental alchemy to every part of our lives. Like, I just went through that fermentation process where a bunch of heavy personal stuff was just rotting in this internal cauldron. I'm a wallower who will just sit in the dark and just kind of stew for days on end. Slowly, my rage that's fueled whatever is going on burns out into a cool heat. It's that distillation step medieval alchemists believe to be refining, which is a kind way of saying crazy stuff is going to go down that'll throw off your whole balance, and the way to move past it is to stoke the fire in the right direction. We got to melt off the emotional debris that stops us from hearing the God of our hearts. Then we start to move past our attachments into that perfected light, or engraved light from light of Ein Sof beyond us, or whatever it is that we call God. It is then and only then that we can truly develop our inner natures and manifest according to divine plan. What that means for you isn't up to me. In fact, I have no clue how any of you will experience life. So why not quiet all that sensory noise for a bit and dial down our internal dialogues? Walk into that silence that Rumi loves so much and tune into the still, small voice. This is how we awaken to the divine nature. It's all love. Until then, peace.